यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना तीरावनचारि यमुना तीरावनचारि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना तीरावनचारि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय गौरांगी बेंगलूरीश्वर गौरांगी बेंगलूरीश्वर गौरांगी जय जगन्नाथा बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शना जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्यामकुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय द्वारका धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय समवेत गौरभक्त वृंद की जय गौरभक्त प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Jai Srila Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Hari Om Tat Sat. So we welcome all devotees for this morning Srimad Bhagavatam session at Sri Vasangan, a chapter of ISKCON Seshadripuram. So today I have been asked to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, the creative impetus, and chapter 22, the orbits of the planets. So this chapter I think has 17 verses, and normally we discuss 50% of each chapter every week. But since this is 17 chapters and maybe not much of a purport by Srila Prabhupada, we are doing the full chapter today. So let's begin. So Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 22nd chapter, verse number 1. We will just read this verse in Sanskrit, and then the rest of the verses we will read the translation. Raja Uvacha Yadetad Bhagavata Adityasya Merum Dhruvam Cha Pradakshinena Parikramato Rasinam Abhimukam Prachalitam Chaparadakshinam Bhagavato Pavarnitam Amushya Vayam Katam Anumim Imahiti. Word by word meaning. Raja Uvacha, the king Maharaja Parikshit inquired, Yat, which, Yetat, this, Bhagavataha, of the most powerful, Adityasya, of the sun, Surya Narayana, Merum, the mountain known as Meru, Dhruvam Cha, as well as the planet known as Dhruvaloka, Pradakshinena, by placing on the right, Parikramataha, which is going around, Rasi Nam, the different signs of the zodiac, Abhimukam, facing towards, Prachalitam, moving, Cha, and Apradakshinam, placing on the left, Bhagavata, by your lordship, Upavarnitam, described, Amusya, of that, Vayam, we, the hearer, Katam, how, Anu, Mimi, Mahi, can accept it by argument and inference, iti, thus. Translation. King Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, My dear Lord, you have already affirmed the truth that the supremely powerful sun god travels around Dhruvaloka with both Dhruvaloka and Mount Meru on his right. Yet, at the same time, the sun god faces the signs of the zodiac and keeps Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on his left. How can we reasonably accept that the sun god proceeds with Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on both his left and right simultaneously? So, here this description, the 7th chapter is the creative impetus, and here the various how the creation happened, how the different planets are all set up and all that is there. We already saw a full chapter dedicated to the the Meru Parvat, and then the land surrounding it. Here it is also mentioned, Sumeru mountain, and then the Dhruvaloka, and how the 7 islands, 7 different patches of lands are there. And then we also saw that the father, he gave these different 7 lands to his 7 sons, and further how that was further divided into 7 different provinces, and then each of their son actually ruled. And we also saw how in each of these specific territory, or the section of the land, how the Lord was worshipped by the different forms of by his different forms and things like that. Now we are going little further away from this, the Sumeru mountain and these lands, and going further and further up, and towards the other planetary systems which are there, and how the sun, the moon, and all that is being described. So this is basically the description of the universe. And I think if it's in a very in a sense it's it's sometimes beyond at least my comprehension, how to describe all these these creative activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the point that we need to note, there are many chapters dedicated for this. Sometimes Prabhupada has said, these are not very important for us, but at the same time, what is the lesson that we learn from all these things? That is very important. So we will start with that kind of a background. Then understanding all these things becomes, in one sense easy, but at the same time it also helps us to understand why these things are there, right? So sometimes we get lost in the whole maze of so many things that are there in the material world. We forget the purpose why in fact all these are created, and in fact why we are here in the first place in this kind of thing. So that is important. Now if you see, this creation thing has been there, has been discussed earlier also, where Parikshit Maharaj is asking these questions. So in the second canto, somewhere maybe I don't have the book here, maybe the 4th chapter onwards, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and all that. There, again these descriptions are given, like he's asking these pertinent questions, why is this creation, who is the ultimate creator, such questions are being asked. Who are the people who are eligible to understand this, and who are the people who will not understand this? Such questions are all coming there. And there Sukadeva Goswami is actually referring, some questions like what you are asking was also asked by Narada Muni, to his father, and that section he is referring there. So there, Narada Muni humbly goes in front of Brahmadev. Brahma is his father, and in a very humble manner, very submissively, he asks this question, that you seem to be the actual the creator. You seem to have all those Sanskrit are very, very beautiful. So you seem to be the person who is completely in control of all of these creations. So can you please enlighten? He will say, tell the truth as it is, in a very you will use those words which are that tattva. You tell that tattva with as a clear truth. You please let me know, like that he will ask. So then Narada Muni will say, Brahmadev, he will say, Narada Muni, you know all these things, but still you are asking me because that will induce Krishna consciousness in me. Basically, so the idea here, Brahma, see, it's a very great qualities have been expressed here. Why I am saying is, that is the is the foundation for understanding all of these things at a higher, the purpose of all of these creations, how it works and all that. But what is the background? What is the take home for the person who is trying to understand all these things? That is important. So there, Narada Muni, he so very humbly goes and requests. He has this mood of inquiry, which he does to his father, his in that kind of a mood. And Brahmaji, even though he is the greatest person in all this, he humbly says, you know all these things, but actually you are asking me to say this because then I will get enthused and I will become more Krishna conscious. You see the mood of both these great personalities. And he speaks very enthusiastically. This gives me enthusiasm to talk on Krishna consciousness. And therefore I would try to answer your question. So his answer about this entire complicated creation is not from the mood of that, I know all these things, I am the controller. In fact, where Brahma actually uses these words that you have done this, like, you know all the ingredients, everything is there. You know how it is happening, and you will also know how things can happen in the future. So you are completely in control of this entire creation, that entire whatever bubbles that are there. You have complete technical knowledge. You also have all the creative knowledge. You are like the factory manager, right? From the raw material, how it comes, and what are the processings that it goes through, and what is the final product that comes out of everything. You are completely aware of. Therefore, you please let us know that way. So he says, yes, all of this is actually created by me. You are saying what you are saying is correct. So that's a statement of fact. But you should also know, I am only the secondary creator. There is already the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who has actually created the basic materials which are required, and he is also induced the knowledge of how to process these in my head. He has actually given the seed by which I am able to know how all these things are happening, and I am able to have that knowledge to make these things manifest and control them nicely. So this is the message of Brahma. Therefore, we need to understand that in all of these creations that is happening, in the material world, creation and the side effects of whatever we are seeing, we are experiencing, we somehow get lost, right? In these things, and we actually lose what is the purpose of this creation and who is the ultimate master. So that is actually the core subject of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we need to understand that. And from that perspective, if you are able to go further and further and further, then we will be able to understand. This is like, you find certain things lying there. You find some, you are just on the way and you see some beautiful, some nice palace or something like that. You just go in, you are amazed to see so many wonderful things inside that palace, right? And you don't see that, the owner is there. You search around if there is any owner, nobody is there, and it seems to be completely empty. Then you start seeing each of those things, and then you try to take some of these things and start operating them. You find them very amusing, very good and all that. And then you start enjoying that. There is very all comfortable things in that room, in that palace, let's say. You start enjoying it. So now what does it mean? In terms of anyone can say, first and foremost, you walked into a place which is not yours. And without taking any permission, without understanding who this palace belongs to and all that, you started enjoying all of this. You find a nice swimming pool, you jump into it, you take a wonderful bath, and then you go into the kitchen, you find very amazing things there, you eat everything. So you do such things. Is it right? The question therefore is, I have got nothing to do with this palace. I am just passing by, and I have come here, and therefore I need to be mindful of the owner of this palace, like this. So therefore Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the creator of everything that be. And it is very important that we acknowledge that aspect of it. And if we understand the creator, then the creation is easily understandable. So from that perspective, Prabhupada also says, so when one time Prabhupada was, one of the devotees asked Prabhupada, devotees are a press reporter, one of them asked this question, Prabhupada, you seem to be seeing, seem to have an answer for everything, right? You are a representative of God. If that does that mean that you know everything? Does that mean that you know everything? Because you seem to be a messiah, you seem to be a representative of God. That's how when Prabhupada was on this planet, physically, people actually always felt that Prabhupada, right, is directly someone who's in connect with Krishna, literally, physically, not some, okay, no, we think the Guru, our Guru is connected and, these kind of things, but this is real, from their mind, it is very real that this Prabhupada is actually having direct interaction with Krishna. So when Prabhupada comes, it's not like an ordinary materially opulent person you are having an interaction with. It is like with the highest reverence, with the highest knowledge, the ultimate perfection when you interact with Srila Prabhupada. That is how his disciples were able to literally feel that actually. So they say, so if you seem to be the messenger of the Supreme Personality or the Creator, then you should know everything, right? This is how they were saying. So Prabhupada said, yes, he gave an example. See, if there's a building, he pointed to some building which is like in that US at that time, some many floors, 108 floors, something like that, whatever. So now if you ask me, okay, in this building, how many rooms are there, or how many windows are there, and in which room what is there, and these kind of things, I, as an ordinary limited human being, I may not know. But if you know the architect of that building, naturally that information is readily available for you, right? You don't have to really worry too much about it. You simply have to check with that architect and he will reveal all the information. You need not have spent so much time going into each room, noting down what all are 108 rooms, what all are there. That is all not required. Even for us, simply, if you have to look at it in another example. So I am being asked to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam on creation. What do I know? If you really think, oh, I am such a great scholar, we have no idea really in terms of our own personal capacity. But what do? We simply know the person who actually knows all these things, Srila Prabhupada. And he has given all the information. All I need to go is take his books, go through some of these sections, and I have a lot of knowledge, and I am sitting and giving gyan for 1 hour, 2 hours like this. So now the point is, it is not that I have a lot of abilities, but I know the person who has a lot of these abilities. Or rather, if you take it from the point of the Lord, the ultimate, if you happen to be in relationship with Krishna, then all of the other things becomes very easy to understand. And more importantly, you also understand, therefore, okay, this is all done by Krishna, and these places are there. You also therefore understand why he created that. What is the purpose of it? Is it for me to be completely sitting here and enjoying these different instruments, whichever is there and all that? So this working knowledge is required to adjust our circumstances, situation to remain here. But that doesn't mean we get awed by what we are seeing here. If you see the size of all these things, how they work, it's mind-boggling. Then we may get lost. That's how you see people go into different kinds of research. They research into the sand particle, try to count how many sand particles are there, how many planets are there. You have to understand, at least I'm not saying this thing. When Brahma is talking, he's saying, see, all of these amazing things are actually, for us, we say, this universe is limitless, and all this stuff that we say, even if we can't go to the edge of the universe. Do you know how it looks like? Is it going to be are we going to face a wall at the end of, you say, right, we say, earlier we were thinking, I think 7 planets or 9 planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Pluto, like this we go, up to Pluto we go. Now they are talking about a few more planets and all that. But sometimes when we were young, we were thinking, so beyond that, what is it going to be, a wall or something like that? How does it, So this is so mind-boggling to look at the universe in the night time. In cities you can't see this, but if you are in some remote village somewhere, no electricity, you look up at the sky, it is mesmerizing. There are millions of stars, they are all shining brightly. Sometimes we have had this experience of lying down and looking up at the sky. And suddenly it looks like we are in a different world altogether. Because we are in cities, we don't get to see that at all. That kind of a sight we never get to see. But sometimes you suddenly feel, where am I? In which world am I? In all these things, where are other people are there? What all can happen? We think like that. But all of this is just actually, Brahma says, this is just 1/4 of the real spiritual world which is there elsewhere. Beyond this creation, what I am doing. So when you think about all these things, it's mind-boggling, and we may start off get carried away. We may think this is ultimate, and these researchers, right, we can keep on researching into these material aspects. But beyond that, then in that point of time, I know many people do PhD for 10 years and things like that. And that whatever little understanding they get enthuses them to do more and more and more. But by the time they turn back, they are already they're quite old. And because of that research and because of that little fame and name, they became more engrossed into it, because that's kind of intoxicating, that whatever little knowledge that we get. And because of the recognition that we get because of that knowledge, it becomes intoxicating. And then this person dedicates his entire life to that. And in the process, suddenly you turn back, you say, I've lost one life of mine almost. There's no very little left for me to understand who am I. All this is fine, but why am I here doing this research? I don't know. But I am doing this research so much, thinking this is my life and soul, and this is the purpose for which my entire creation is made, or something like that. So the idea is, beyond all these things, we should have that grounding in the understanding of that this material world is there for reformation. This creation is there because I decided to enjoy away from Krishna, and therefore Krishna, being Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he does not make one small arrangement. Okay, I will give you a toy car. He actually gives something which looks more real, more completely intoxicating, completely occupying. Then we come here, and of course we do enjoy that. But because that was my desire and it was given for that purpose, so it cannot be artificial to say, oh no, I cannot, I am Buddha. No, because you had that desire, you have come here, you are doing this. But in the process, am I coming to understand that this does not make sense beyond a point, and I need to come to the real knowledge and realize my mistake and go back to where I originally belong. So, but somewhere along the line, we get lost into what is here. So as long as we are actually keeping that knowledge and engaging with this amazing mission called the material creation, we are okay. So Prabhupada always says, right, what are you? Prabhupada was once meditating. Standing in front of the Lord and looking at him, and he was standing there for a long time. So devotees were asking, what are you praying, Prabhupada? What are you praying? So Prabhupada says, I am praying to Krishna that he does not, he keeps me away from Maya. So Prabhupada, how can he be affected by Maya? So then they say, Prabhupada says, my biggest worry with my disciples and the generations is, they think Maya is easy. They think it's a very simple thing. But it is the most difficult thing, it is the most dangerous thing. So one need to be very, 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 very careful, and therefore we need to seek protection from the Lord that I am not affected by Maya. So that he wanted to teach to the disciples, and he was saying this. Therefore we need to be mindful that when we engage in this material creation, when we engage ourselves into anything in this material aspect of life, we are overawed and we are carried away. And in the process, we forget what is the purpose of our life here. So that is a sort of the foundation. And from there, we will go and see the rest of the things. The rest of the things are more academic. The way, it is there because Prabhupada has not given much of a purport also. But we will try to understand, again, keeping this in the mind, and let's see how it goes from here on. Verse number 2. Here it is said, Sri Sukadeva Goswami clearly answered, when a potter's wheel is moving and small ants located on that big wheel are moving with it, one can see that their motion is different from that of the wheel because they appear sometimes on one part of the wheel and sometimes on another. Similarly, the signs and constellations with Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on their right move with the wheel of time, and the ant-like sun and other planets move with them. The sun and planets, however, are seen in different signs and constellations and different times. This indicates that their motion is different from that of the zodiac and the wheel of time itself. Very difficult to understand. If I am an astrologer, maybe I can throw more light. But Prabhupada's example is like this, right? See, this entire creation is also, is moving. Here it is, right? It's like a wheel, that wheel of time, they say. So that is moving. Now, in that context, he is giving this example of a potter's wheel where an ant is sitting in a wheel, and probably that ant is also moving. But if you really see that ant, while it is slightly moving, it may be seen as in different places because the wheel is moving at a much faster pace. Right? So the ant may be themselves rotating, but the wheel may be rotating even in a bigger circumference, and it may be also rotating at different speeds and all that. Now, in this ant situation, the background, just like I have got a background here of my, in the Zoom, you have this background here of this, whatever library. But then it can have some other library can come behind, something else can keep coming behind. So it's just that, right now if I rotate my chair, then you may see sometimes this, the back of the almirah. Right? It is possible if you move this whole thing back, but that I'm still maybe possibly sitting in the same place. So it's like that. So sometimes this may come to my right, and this whatever background you see may come to my left, depending on my position may turn. And in this case, this thing is also moving around. The whatever background is also moving around. So in that sense, sometimes it may be seen in the right, and at the same time it may be seeming on the left. But while it is mentioned that it is to the right, maybe it is to the right at any point in time, and he may possibly not move towards the left, but that thing may move towards his left. Right? All these things are there, which we see. We also see, right? The earth is there, and we are revolving around the sun. So it's not like all the time when it is revolving around, it is facing the earth all the time. It is going around in circles. So while we are going and seeing the different sides of the sun, but at the same time we are always not seeing the side of the sun because it rotates to the other side also, and then in the process we may see further away from sun, sometimes we may see towards the sun. And if you look at a planet, at least the scientific way of understanding, the moon is actually rotating around the sun. The earth is what we are seeing. But here it may be a different definition altogether. So if you have to really understand this even more complicatedly, I think there is dimensions, right? We talk about dimensions. That means the 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, like this. I don't know. Today in our consciousness, that means the material advancement, we may have seen 4D, 5D, maybe, I don't know. Now the 3G came, 4G came, like that. We keep on going further and further like that. So now 3D was there, I think 4D was also there. Now I am lost. I don't know if there is a 5D or 6D. But in one of those dimensions, that I think there are more than 15, 16 dimensions actually. So in one of the dimensions, earth is actually flat. So you can't believe this, you can't accept that, because today our understanding of the world is only that earth is round, right? Our understanding of that whole thing. We all would have seen the case where Agastya, the story of Agastya, right? When Lord Shiva was getting married, the whole world wanted to go and see this marriage. So then if everybody go towards one part of the world, then the whole weight will be on that side, and then therefore it will tilt. Then they were wondering, then how do we manage the situation? Okay, you call Agastya. He is supposed to be it's not that he was a very short man technically, but maybe because his weight, because of his knowledge or whatever, then he can actually balance the world on the other side. So how can this, if a round thing, it doesn't matter, right? That it will tilt in one side or something like that, it doesn't matter. But if it is a flat one, then that worry is there in a balance, in a scale, what you call the weighing scale. You put one on the other side, you put other on the other side, then the balance will happen if both are on both the weights on the both sides are the same. So that way Agastya was sent to the other side of the earth. So whatever is that earth means the place where the whole universe, whatever, that he balances it in this way so that the entire population is actually there where Lord Shiva is getting married. So he was the only person left out of that marriage festivities. So in that sense, it is a flat one. So it's very difficult for our what do you call, as Prabhupada says, tiny brain to understand all these things. But Prabhupada is giving a very high level example to say, this is how it is. You go to the next one. There it is mentioned, the original cause of the cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. When great saintly persons, fully aware of the Vedic knowledge, offered prayers to the Supreme Person, he descended to this material world in the form of the sun to benefit all the planets and purify fruitive activities. He divided himself into 12 parts and created seasonal forms, beginning with spring. In this way, he created the seasonal qualities such as heat, cold, and so on. So this is the background, that the Lord is the creator of this entire universe, and in the form of Narayana. And anyway, okay, now we all decided to come here. We got we got transferred here. Now what? Right? Now I am here in this place. Initially, Satyaloka, what do you call the what do you call these 4 periods, right? Now we are in Kali Yuga, then the first period, the second period, and all that. So the people are there. Initial periods, it was little more comfortable. People were not having so much of distress and things like that. But as things go, it keeps on increasing. But they understood that I am here. Initially, I am thinking I am enjoying, because there is little vices there. All the 4 pillars of Dharma were almost there. But in the process, even there was difficulties. Then they start looking for solutions. Oh my God, what is this? Right? Things are problematic. I have fear. I am uncomfortable. All that. So then that automatically that mind, that seeking for protection comes. And the Lord, being so merciful, he then comes down to this material world, and that's why we see the incarnations of the Lord, and they are multiple. They are like they say it is the forms of the Lord just keep coming out, and it is not something that we can count. Okay, we can say 10 avatars. Some people, very common people, say 10. Bhagavatam gives much more, and in reality there is much more. It's like simply like bubbles coming out from soaped water, like it will keep coming like that. So the Lord's incarnations are countless. So he is so merciful that he comes to and to give mercy to people, reform people and all that. That is what has been given. The form of, and one of the form that he descends in is the sun god, and form of the sun to benefit all the planets and purify fruitive activities. So the Lord is actually pavitram, and therefore when somehow or other we connect to the Lord, our activities get purified. That's why they say, you purify your Lakshmi, means your money, because we are doing so many fruitive activities to earn money. But if we are engaging that money in Krishna's service, then that gets purified. So the activity may not be, many of us are working in so many software companies, we don't know where all those software gets implemented. It may get implemented in in a slaughterhouse also, right? We don't know. Or it may be used in liquor shops. Naturally, right, a billing system happens and you don't know if your software is sitting there. Mind-boggling. We really don't even know. So then we get a lot of karma for all these activities. Then how do we purify our fruitive activities? By engaging whatever we do in the service of the Lord. This gets purified. So and this is the background. So then the Lord, when he comes down as the sun god, then the further things we will follow. But here the point mentioned is he divided himself into 12 parts and created seasonal forms, beginning with spring. In this way, he created the seasonal qualities such as heat, cold, and so on. That we will see further how the different seasons come through. Next, according to the system of 4 varnas and 4 ashramas, people generally worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana, who is situated as the Sun God. With great faith, they worship the Supreme Personality as the Super Soul according to ritualistic ceremonies handed down in the 3 Vedas, such as Agnihotra and similar higher and lower fruitive acts, and according to the process of mystic yoga. In this way, they very easily attain the ultimate goal of life. So, the Lord therefore is represented in the form of Sun God. We also say, right, the what do you call, in the universal form, the Sun God and the Moon God, they are the Sun and the Moon, they are both they are the eyes of the Lord, they say. So that way they are all actually representing the Lord like this. Then the Surya Narayana, therefore we see this Shankaranti, the so many festivals we celebrate, we offer to the sun. I know in those, when we were in Tamil Nadu, what do you call, they call it Pongal. That day they actually keep all this the sweet rice and the sugar cane, we keep it outside where the sun is there, and then we pray to the sun god, like you accept like that. So these are all the different ways in which the Surya Narayana is being worshipped. And they are talking about this Agnihotra. So this is also one of, I have heard this Agnihotra is one of the ceremonies, or what do you call, one of the sacrifices which the great saintly people need to perform. So there I have heard some people are called Agnihotris, right? What is the thing? That means I have heard some, I mean this is just, I don't want to border in the line of speculation. Therefore, I will be, there are some people who are supposed to do, like, some, now when a man's wife, anyway, I will not go there. But the idea is that this fire will be kept on alive. It is not like, this Agnihotra gets over after some half an hour or 1 hour of sacrifice. It is supposed to be kept going through the night, through the day, it will be kept, and they will continue to keep on performing these yajnas. So like this, there are so many rituals connected with this, and they are all in Prabhupada is writing, and Krishna is saying, I mean, here in this Bhagavatam verse it is mentioned, and according to the process of mystic yoga. So these are all there as per the authorized system, but very complicated. Next. The sun god, who is Narayana or Vishnu, the soul of all the worlds, is situated in outer space between the upper and lower portion of the universe. So it is not like the sun is above all of the, what do you call, up to Brahma Loka, and then the sun is there. It's not like that. This word says, the sun god, who is Narayana or Vishnu, the soul of all the worlds, is situated in outer space between the upper and lower portion of the universe. Passing through 12 months on the wheel of time, the sun comes in touch with 12 different signs of the zodiac and assumes 12 different names according to those signs. The aggregate of these 12 months is called a samvatsara, or an entire year. According to lunar calculation, 2 fortnights, one of the waxing moon and the other of the waning, form 1 month. That same period is 1 day and night for the planet Pitruloka. According to stellar calculations, a month equals 2 1/4 constellation. When the sun travels for 2 months, a season passes, and therefore the seasonal changes are considered parts of the body of the year. So many different aspects are there. So the sun is traveling around, and he is basically situated between the upper and lower planetary system, so somewhere in the middle of this entire planetary system, and he comes in touch with the 12 zodiac signs. We know this, right? The Mercury, Venus, Buddha. I mean, if you have to say this in our thing, they say no, Sukra, Shani, Guru. All these are the zodiacs, the 12 planetary systems which are there. 12 different planets which are there. So in the movement of the sun, he is in touch with these different planetary systems, and that period of maybe the travel between these is 2.5 years, and each planet actually they have a different time. They say when the Saturn is going around, for him to move from one place to another, it takes X number of days or X number of years. Whereas for the another planet, it may be like every day once he comes around very fast. So there are different calculations by permutation combination by which each of them get in touch with each other, and the sun, of course, being the central of all of that, is also actually having an effect. So the combination of sun with Mercury, Venus, or Mercury and Venus together, then that is the combination for that particular Jataka. For that chart, the natal chart holder, the situation are different. We will see that these actually affect the different personalities, the movement of these planets. That is also mentioned. I saw that as we keep going further. But here the movement of the sun he is in touch with the different zodiacs, and the time is also being given here. And for him to go around, it takes, as they say, the 12 months, and then it's called the total of these 12 months are a particular 1 year is called as Samvatsara. And we also see the 2 fortnights, the waning moon and the full moon. The moon depletions, and then it again starts increasing till it becomes full moon. So from full moon it becomes Amavasya, and from Amavasya it becomes full moon. Amavasya is the day when the complete sun, the moon is completely waned off, so you don't see the moon at all. Then it is called growing moon. Then it goes up to the thing. So a combination of these two makes 1 month is what has been mentioned. We are aware of these spricks from our calendar point of view. And 1 month, therefore, in Pitruloka is 1 day. That is being mentioned here. According to stellar calculations, a month equals 2.25 constellation. That also we saw. When the sun travels for 2 months, a season passes, and therefore we see when the sun keeps passing on, we see the times changing. We see the winter, we see the spring, we see the time when all the autumn, these different seasons come. So there are such 6 such periods which are there. Next verse. Thus the time the sun takes to rotate through half the outer space is called as an ayana, or its period of movement in north or in south. So this is, we say, right, the sun in a year, you will see the sun sometimes starts from where in the north, they say, and sometimes in the south. We see that in our homes. We can, if you just go to your top, you will see whole year you observe. You will find the sun is not actually rising. They say, right, he rises in the east, but that's okay. But if you see, even in the east, it is not always in one exact same place it starts. Right? I have observed that, he sometimes starts from this side of the east, sometimes he starts from this side of the east. So that is mentioned that it is Uttarayana, Ayana it is mentioned, right? That is Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. So these two periods, even in Bhagavad Gita we have seen, if someone leaves their body during Uttarayana, then the person achieves higher planetary system, higher consciousness. If he lives in the Dakshinayana period, then maybe lower consciousness or lower planetary systems. These kind of things are there. Therefore, in a year, the sun is actually traveling in north and south, which is once in north and once in south. That whole period together is considered as an year as far as this calendar is concerned. Then the sun god has 3 speeds: slow, fast and moderate. The time he takes to travel entirely around the spheres of heaven, earth and space at these 3 speeds is referred to by learned scholars by the 5 names: Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Ida Vatsara, Anuvatsara and Vatsara. So naturally, right, a sun is a person, right? So he also has different minds, different moods and things like that. Sometimes we walk very fast, sometimes we walk in a very relaxed manner, sometimes we have a combination of fast walking and slow walking like that. So here that the speed of the sun is divided into three is being mentioned: slow, fast, and moderate. Uh, and these three speeds are further bi-classified, right? There are nuances within that. When they say moderate, that could be a combination of speed and slowness and all that. So net all of these things are named in 5 different names: Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Vatsara. And Prabhupada is writing, according to solar or astronomical calculations, each year extends 6 days beyond the calendar year. And according to lunar calculation, each year is 6 days shorter. So two different calendars, the lunar calendar and the solar calendar. So according to solar calendar, there is it is going ahead by 6 days, while lunar calendar is going behind by 6 days, and therefore there is a gap of 12 days. Therefore, because of the movement of the sun and moon, there is a difference of 12 days between the solar and lunar years. As the Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Vatsara pass by, 2 extra months are added with each 5 year. Right? So that means 12, when it keeps adding to 5, then 1 extra month is created. And that becomes the 6th actually. But that 6th is ignored. It is what Prabhupada has mentioned. This makes a 6th Samvatsara. But because the Samvatsara is extra, the solar system is calculated according to the above 5 names. So that 6th one is sort of ignored. We also have seen this, right? The Purushottam month, the Adhik month. That also they say, because there is a time difference between the sun calendar and the moon calendar, some 3 days or something is extra, and as a result of that, once in 3 years, there is an accumulation of X number of months and accumulation of X number of days, which results in 1 extra month, and that is called Adhik month. Adhik means extra, like that. So these things are given here also. Then, above the rays of the sunshine, by a distance of 1 lakh yojanas, which is equal to 8 lakh miles, is the moon. So the moon is above the sun, and the distance is 1 lakh yojanas, which is 8 lakh miles according to our calculation. And we all, I think we know this 1 mile is probably 1.6 kilometers, because we measure in kilometers. But in Western world like US and all, they say mile. So they say what is the distance between 2 places, they give in miles. We cannot relate to that because we relate everything in kilometer distance. So that I think the mile is bigger than a kilometer. And here 1 yojana is bigger than the mile, which travels at a speed faster than that of the sun, which means the moon travels faster than the speed of the sun. In 2 lunar fortnights, the moon travels through the equivalent of a samvatsara of the sun. So the speed of how fast is moon than sun is given. The moon travels through the equivalent of a samvatsara of the sun in 2.25 days. It passes through a month of the sun. So in 2.25 days, it passes 1 month. That's the speed at which the moon is moving. And in 1 day, it passes through a fortnight of the sun. And Prabhupada writes, when we take into account that the moon is 1 lakh yojanas or 8 lakh miles above the rays of the sunshine, it is very surprising that the modern excursions to the moon could be possible. Since the moon is so distant, how space vehicle could go there is a doubtful mystery. Modern scientific calculations are subjected to one change after another, and therefore they are uncertain. We have to accept the calculations of the Vedic literature. These Vedic calculations are steady. The astronomical calculations made long ago and recorded in the Vedic literature are correct even now. Whether the Vedic calculations or modern ones are better may remain a mystery for others. But as far as we are concerned, we accept the Vedic calculations to be correct. So this is from our cultural point of view Okay, we may have accepted the Western world, we have accepted Western education, we have accepted a lot of these Western concepts in our lives. But what we need to understand is the Vedic system is always perfect. We may not understand, therefore we may make fun of it. We may say, oh, what nonsense is this? We know, earth is round, we know this is what it is, this is what it is. The moon is actually a arbiter, or what you call one of the whatever we call that, it's not important, it's not worth it. Actually moon has got so much of it's not like one of a dependent satellite of the earth or something like that. That is what we are taught, but that is not the case. We'll see further about the moon, how without moon, we can say it is a satellite of earth, it is coming around the earth and all that. But so the Vedic system is more accurate. Prabhupada is writing, right? These things can change, because they say, right, they initially how they create, each one person comes and does some theory, and he does some little research and maybe gives some kind of logic which people are not able to defy at that point in time with their level of brain advancement, so-called technical advancement. So that becomes the science. That is accepted by everyone and we move on. But subsequently another guy comes and then he actually proves this fellow wrong. We have seen these things. Or he takes it further. He says, yeah, this is fine, but beyond this there is something else. So then whatever boundary which was set, we called it as science, now that goalpost is moved. This is the reality. We have seen these things. If that is the case, then is it completely to be accepted as ultimate truth? No. This is relative truth. That means up to this point of time, this is what we believe. But tomorrow it will change. We are seeing these things very clearly, particularly in the space of, in the field of astronomy, right? So many, they keep on innovating, they keep on, progressing their knowledge to one more small quarter of an inch of the universe, and then they give different theories altogether. So that Prabhupada is trying to make us understand, don't get lost in all these things. Please accept the Vedic things, because this one has never changed. Krishna says, I spoke this science to Vivaswan. What I am speaking to you, the same science I spoke to Vivaswan so many millions of years ago. So this does not change. The matter is the same, because this is ultimate truth. So truth cannot change. Relative truth means, it can change, because that is not the ultimate truth, but the ultimate truth does not change. So the Vedic system has these calculations. We know, we call it Panchang, right? It's not like after the modern thing, science came, we have this Panchang. This Panchang has been there for millions of years. And all our ancestors used to tell exactly when an eclipse will come. They were not scientists, or they did not go to any Western school to understand when a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse will come. So this is there in our scriptures, and we need to understand that maybe a lot of these texts are lost, and as a result we may not be able to have the comprehensive knowledge, but that faith should be there, that one maybe some intelligent people who have this brain ability to understand, they should research into these things rather than simply following only the Western research patterns, or going into those universities. But these things will come in course of time, because time is evolving, right? Tomorrow there may be a time when will come, we may establish our Vedic system as the ultimate system, and other cultures will start following. Prabhupada has already set the example, right? He has gone to the Western world and made a lot of Western people follow our system now, our culture now. So these are relative, it will keep changing here and there. Today we are over enamored by the Western influence, that's okay, but that doesn't mean they have the perfect knowledge. In fact, it is the other way around. We have the perfect knowledge, but since we are not ready to explore, we have accepted something which is ready-made, just like they say, right? Earlier we used to cook nicely in our home, there's a lot of thing, but today the fast food is there, someone else is cooking, we are simply taking it from there. It's easy, convenience, like this. So we are piggybacking on the Western world, because they are giving the year dates. Why I have to break my head? They are telling today is Father's Day, you celebrate Father's Day. How does it matter? So we are doing these things, but a little bit of our own research into our own philosophy, our own culture, our own literatures will give more authenticity to the whole thing. Next. When the moon is waxing, the illuminating portion of it increases daily, thus creating day for the demigods and night for the pitas. When the moon is waning, however, it causes night for the demigods and day for the pitas. In this way, the moon passes through each constellation of stars in 30 muhurtas, an entire day. So the moon's day is divided into 30 sections. They say, right, it's a 1.25, 1 hour, 25 minutes like this and all is there. That is because of this. The moon is the source of nectarian coolness that influences the growth of food grain, and therefore the moon god is considered the life of all living entities. He is consequently called Jiva, the chief living being within the universe. This is what I was talking about, the moon. Without moon, you can't have vegetables. You can't have grains growing. Then what will we eat? Right? You can't discount moon as some satellite just going around the earth. Earth is bigger. Earth has got is holding the moon to its place. That is not true as far as Vedic system is concerned. But the earth is able to sustain because of the existence of the moon. Next. Because the moon is full of all potentialities, it represents the influence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The moon is the predominating deity of everyone's mind, and therefore the moon god is called Manomaya. He is also called Annamaya because he gives potency to all herbs and plants, and he is called Amritamaya because he is the source of life for all living entities. The moon pleases the demigods, pitas, human beings, animals, birds, reptiles, trees, plants, and all other living entities. Everyone is satisfied by the presence of the moon. Therefore, the moon is also called Sarvamaya, all-pervading. So you see the glories of moon. It is not like some simple dependent planet which is of real no use to anybody. That's how we see it. Okay, it's nice to see a moon there, but beyond that, moon does not make any difference to the earth. That is how many people think, but that is not true. He is the source of life, Annamaya, right? Amritamaya. What all wonderful names he's been given. Ultimately, Sarvamaya. Very, very important. And it said, the moon is the one which influences the mind. We can see this in our Jataka and all. They will say, if I am little hanky-panky, or my mind is agitated or all that, they say there's a problem with the moon in your chart. They say this. And even these lunatics and all, they are influenced when there's high moon. You will see these things. People who are very much, little imbalance in the brain, their imbalance actually increases when the full moon is there. So they will have to be careful. If you go to this lunatic asylums and places where these people with mind imbalance are there, you will see their activities are more agitated during this full moon. So there is a direct correlation with moon and the mind. Then there are many stars located 2 lakh yojanas, that is 1600,000 miles above the moon. By the supreme will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are fixed to the wheel of time, and thus they rotate with Mount Sumeru on their right, their motion being different from that of the sun. There are 28 important stars headed by Abhijit. And Prabhupada writes, the stars referred to herein are 1600,000 miles above the sun, and thus they are 4 million miles above the earth. These stars which is being referred to, starting with Abhijit, they are 4 million miles above the earth. And next, some 1.6 million miles above this group of stars is the planet Venus. So Venus is above 1.6 million above this planet, and that planet itself is so many miles above the earth. So the Venus, so many millions above moon, and then above that is this planet, and above that is this Venus, which moves at almost exactly the same pace as the sun according to swift, slow and moderate movements. Sometimes Venus moves behind the sun, sometimes in front of the sun, and sometimes along with it. Venus nullifies the influence of planets that are obstacle to rainfall. Consequently, its presence causes rainfall, and it is therefore considered very favorable for all living beings within this universe. This has been accepted by learned scholars. Venus is that what you call Sukra. Sukra, they say, this planet, that planet. It actually gives fame. It gives the ability, like if you are a performer, like if you are an actor and all that, it enhances that person's ability to influence people. Venus has got that ability. Supposed to be an auspicious planet. Mercury is described to be similar to Venus, in that it moves sometimes behind the sun, sometimes in front of the sun, and sometimes along with it. It is 1.6 million miles above Venus, or 7.2 miles above Earth. Mercury, which is the son of the moon, is almost always very auspicious for the inhabitants of the universe. But when it does not move along with the sun, it forbids cyclones, dust, irregular rainfall, and waterless clouds. In this way, it creates fearful conditions due to inadequate or excessive rainfall. So Mercury, we say, is closest to the sun according to our Western understanding. But here you say Mercury is actually much further away. The first is moon, then you have even Venus, and then comes Mercury. I mean, in terms of the height, further away. Then, situated 1.6 miles above the Mercury, or 8.8 miles above Earth, is the planet Mars, which we call Guru, right? The Mars. If this planet, Mars, it's Guru, I think. Yeah. If this planet does not travel in a crooked way, it crosses through each sign of the zodiac in 3 fortnights, and in this way travels through all 12, one after another. It almost always creates unfavorable conditions in respect of rainfall and other influences. I think Mars is not Guru, it is Buddha. Buddha is actually Mars. Situated 1.6 miles above the Mars, or 10.4 million miles above Earth, is the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is Guru, which travels through one sign of the zodiac within the period of a Parivatsara. If this movement is not curved, the planet Jupiter is very favorable to the Brahmanas of the universe. So Guru, they say, in chart they say, if your Guru is good, then you are very blessed. That Guru Desa brings people many auspicious things. All good things happen for people during that period. Then situated 1.6 miles above Jupiter, or 12 million miles above Earth, is the planet Saturn, Shani, which passes through one sign of the zodiac in 30 months and covers the entire zodiac circle in 30 Anuvatsaras. This planet is always very auspicious for the universal situation. The last one, I think, we'll finish with this. Situated 8.8 million miles above Saturn, or 20.8 miles above Earth, are the 7 saintly sages who are always thinking of the well-being of the inhabitants of the universe. They circumambulate the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu, known as Dhruvaloka, the pole star. Sri Madhvacharya quotes the following verse from the Brahmanda Purana. Jnananam mano Vishnuhu Shishumara Vapushya Ata Urdhva Lokeshu Sa Vyapta Adityadhyastad Ashrita. Lord Vishnu, who is the source of knowledge and transcendental bliss, has assumed the form of Sishumara in the 7th heaven, which is situated in the topmost level of the universe. All the other planets, beginning with the Sun, exist under the shelter of the Shishumara planetary system. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 5th canto, 22nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Orbits of the Planets. So I end here. If there are any questions, comments, welcome. Hare Krishna.